to News Geelong. The Geelong VFL team suffered its first defeat on the weekend. News Geelong caught up with Geelong player and former Gold Coast Sun, Flanagan. Pierce, unfortunately the streak came to an end. Can you tell us about your match against Collingwood on the weekend?
Yes, it was a bit disappointing. So a week after the bye to have a loss after starting so well. I guess Collingwood were just sort of on top of us the whole day. We stayed with them, and it was only a 13-point loss, I think, in the end. But it's obviously disappointing after the bye, to have a loss.
We're facing the Casey Scorpions now, and they're coming off 2 defeats in a row. Does that give you confidence when you face opposition like that?
I think it does a little bit, and also, we're coming off a loss as well, so we'll be very geared up on Sunday, and having an 8-day break as well will help. I think the boys just recovered from the Collingwood, which was a pretty taxing game. So I think the boys will be confident going into Casey. We'll review what we did on Saturday, and we'll go forward from there.
Now the talk around the VFL is that former Geelong names will make the lineup for Casey, such as Tom Gillies, Tom Couch, who was a former Bell Park player. Is there any rivalry between the Geelong camp in that department?
I think there will be a little rivalry. Obviously, the boys that have been in Geelong for a few years will enjoy getting stuck into them. I think the coaches might put in a word to us about those sort of players, so we'll definitely be looking out for them on Sunday.
Now, what are your main goals for this year as a VFL player? Obviously, you've come down from the AFL. What are the boxes you hope to tick by hopefully September?
Obviously, just to have a good year in Geelong. The boys, it's coming into a culture here, obviously coming off a premiership, being very successful, just to play good, consistent football and hopefully, do my part for the team wherever that may be.
And are there any mentors in the Geelong VFL team that you've looked up to? Because despite your AFL experience, you are still in a younger part of your career. Yeah,
I was Troy Selwood and Dom Gleeson as sort of playing coaches have been fantastic, just about welcoming you to the group and helping you understand the team cultures and, the team structures, and also from a coaching perspective, Matthew Knights has been fantastic, and in particular for me, playing defence a lot, Max Rook has been great.
So is there any final words to your supporters?
I'll just come down and support us on Sunday. The stadium's looking great. Obviously it's a day game, but the lights are up and running. It'll be fantastic to get everyone down on Sunday and hopefully have a win.
All right, thanks for that, Pierce.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for that, Pierce. We conclude our sports segment this evening, as we do every Friday evening, talking to Geelong AFL coach Chris Scott.
How good do they look, the lights? The place is really starting to take shape.
Yeah, it really is an exciting time for the footy club, but more so for the Geelong community. The ground looks fantastic. The lights are going to add a new dimension to footy in Geelong, and everyone's really looking forward to Saturday week when we play the Gold Coast under lights, and really it's the beginning of a new era.
Do you expect 47 fit players next week? Everybody put their hand up to play?
Oh yeah, everyone will be very keen to play. Sorry, I wasn't sure where you're going there, Tom. We won't have 47 fit players. I wish we did. But look, the players will be super keen to play. Yeah, it's going to be a big occasion for everyone, and the chance to create a little bit of history and play as well as we possibly can.
Line's already been put through Chappie for this week. Will it be right for next week?
Oh, I've speculated too much about something that I'm not sure enough about. So the important thing for our supporters to understand is that we're taking a long-term view with Paul. He's going to be an incredibly important player to the last part of our season, the last half of our season, and we're going to make sure that he's absolutely healthy and then match fit before he plays.
First up, a tricky little road trip to Adelaide for how do you rate them?
Yeah, it's going to be more than tricky. It's going to be very difficult. I think they were 5-0 to start the year, and we're going to treat them, as such. They've played some really high-quality attacking football. They're going to be hard to stop in that area, and they'll clearly have a focus on defending us really hard as well. So I think it's always a challenge over there, but given the way their team's improved, the strength they've got through the midfield, it's going to be an even bigger challenge than it has been.
The wash-up and review from last week, obviously an unusual position, his first loss of the year, but what did it entail and what message was there for the group?
It was pretty similar to previous weeks against quality opposition, to be honest. When the heat's been on in the game, we've played poorly. And I said post-game that if we had have won the game by 6 points, it would have been really important that we reviewed the parts of the game in the first half that didn't work for us. So it was very similar to the Essendon game, to the Hawthorn game, to the Sydney game. There are some things that we're talking about doing, particularly early in games under pressure, that's not being executed in the heat of the battle. So we'll continue to work on that. Can't guarantee we'll get it right this week, but I can guarantee we'll work as hard as we possibly can to fix it.
Can you put your finger on why it's not being executed, Chris?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, but it's not stuff we'll talk about publicly, unfortunately, for our supporters. But yeah, we're pretty clear, and the players are pretty clear on what needs to improve. The positive thing is that later in games, or when the heat's on even more, certainly in terms of the pressure on the scoreboard, we are standing up. And we were under extreme pressure at half-time on the weekend and came back really hard. Now, weren't good enough to finish the job, but it's still a very positive thing that when we are under pressure, we can come back.
Well, that's Stevie J make a trip this week.
Oh, we're hopeful, but he's got a few training sessions to get through before we can guarantee that. It is a relatively minor calf issue, but we always err on the side of conservatism, so can't guarantee it.
Billy Smith?
Almost certainly can guarantee that he won't play. Yeah, but it's not as serious as first thought. We thought initially that it had the potential to be a 2, 3, 4 week injury. Confident it's at the lower end of that scale.
Is Vardy right in the mix this week?
Not this week. No. Playing well enough to be picked, but we're going to be extremely conservative with Vards and make sure that when he comes into the AFL system, he's ready to play his best.
Mitch Brown, a chance. He looked pretty good on Saturday.
Yeah, very good chance. Yeah, very good chance.
Hamish McIntosh, I believe, is in a discussions with the fitness staff, is what he used as his phrase in regards to possibly playing this week.
Yeah, he's losing the battle. Yeah.
So, following week?
He's behind the 8 ball in that battle as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
With someone like Nathan Vardy, Chris, you're saying he's ready to go. He must think he's ready to go. If you're saying you can't do it yet, how tough's that conversation with him and you?
I think Nathan respects the fact that we consider him a really important long-term player and we have his health and welfare in the front of our minds. So when I say he's ready to go, I mean his form's good enough, but we're not convinced that he's done enough work to be able to come back and handle the rigours of AFL football in a sustained fashion. So the worst thing that we could do is bring him back at less than his best, play a game or two, then have to miss a week through soreness. There's a very good chance that we will take him out just to manage his workload in the second half of the year. But I think he understands that we're conservative with him because we rate him so highly.
You went to the tribunal last week thinking you had a bit of a chance with overturning that charge. Where does it sit now? Are you any clearer as to and confusion, especially in the wake of Darren Rawlins?
I'm really confident that Mark Evans will sort everything out. He's a high-quality operator and he's got a bit to sort out. Yeah.
Is it saying that you've been to him to seek clarification?
I don't do that. I don't waste my time worrying about these things, or there are people that are better than me at having those conversations at our club. The people that thought James Kelly should have been suspended said he was suspended because he bumped someone in the head.
Clearly it's frustrating for them.
It's frustrating because we'd like to have James Kelly available. Yeah, I mean, you haven't, but I'll answer the question, should Darren Jolly have been suspended? Absolutely not. Was it a free kick? Probably.
Chris, the other thing, the AFL, you would either have it already or nearly have it a survey about the fixture and the season length in terms of scrapping the Nat Cup, 24 home and away games. Do you have an inkling about how, as a club, you're going to respond to that season?
I wouldn't be so bold as to give you my opinion before we've had a chance to sit down and talk about it collectively. I'm pleased that the AFL's canvassing the views of the clubs and importantly the players, but we're a long way from putting together our opinion, and I think it's important that we put that opinion forward to the AFL behind closed doors before we talk about it publicly.
And they're saying that the deadline's the end of May, so I should be having that meeting.
So we've still got time. Yeah, but as I said, we'll talk to the AFL in confidence before we release that publicly.
Thanks for that, Chris. And that's all for sport this Friday evening. Back to you, Rollo.
Thank you, Alex, for another solid roundup of sports news. Don't forget the GDFL Ladies of Netball at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, followed by Digital Dick and some Men of Knowledge on the GDFL Footy Show at 8:30 a.m. The unknowledgeable one, yes, just there for his apparent humour, the little insect grubbycations will be making an appearance. And while on the GDFL footy show, happy birthday to Digital Deck, all 63 of them. Hope you have a sweet and enjoyable day of friendship and best wishes. From the team at News Geelong, take the time and smell the flowers. Hope you've enjoyed the program. Have a safe and enjoyable week and a very good night.